Hey there, this is Matt once again. We're about to another review for the Dolph Lundgren Marathon, and this time it is the very, very underrated film, Men of War. Criminally underrated, maybe Dolph's most underrated film, because this film never got the respect it deserves. It still doesn't to this day, because no one ever talks about Men of War. At least some people do talk about I Come in Peace, which is my favorite. Some do bring up The Punisher, Showdown Little Tokyo, Universal Soldier, richly deserved, because all those films I mentioned would be in my top 5 Dolph films. But this one is such a crime. Why doesn't this have a Blu-ray in the US? It deserves it. It deserves a Blu-ray. It's crying out for one. It deserves features. It deserves so much more. Because it's a beautifully filmed flick. You could tell this film was going to get a theatrical release. It looks like a film that would fit just fine in theaters. But from what I understand, Dimension Films bought the film, or Miramax, and then released it under Dimension Films. And then from what I understand, they didn't release it because, well, Dolph, he's not going to work as a lead, the good guy. People aren't going to go to the theater to see that. So just release it direct to video. And I hate to admit it, I get where they're coming from just based on the box office track record. Just think about it. Which were the two films at this time that Dolph's that were hits? Rocky IV, Universal Soldier. And he played the villain both times. But the times he played the hero, Red Scorpion, Showdown Low Tokyo, I Come in Peace, The Punisher, they were all bombs. Or they went straight to video like The Punisher, or they were only released on 100 screens because Warner Brothers are dickheads. They had their head up their wide butt cheeks, which is what the WB really stands for Showdown Tokyo. They didn't get a chance. I Come in Peace, I don't know why that bombed. It's a great movie. I love all those movies. They'd be in my top 5. I Come in Peace, Yours a Soldier, Punisher, Showdown Tokyo, Red Scorpion's up there. But again, it sucks that this film got ignored. So it went straight to video, even though it didn't deserve it. But again, because they thought Dolph. And sad to say, if this film came out in theaters, it probably would have bombed, sadly, because I Come in Peace bombed, Showdown Little Tokyo bombed. So this film probably would have bombed. So, in a weird way, business wise, I get why they didn't release it in the theaters. It's just a shitty situation all around. Now, the original script was written by John Sayles, but then it was rewritten a little bit by these other writers, Ethan Reiff and Cyrus Voris. I think they added more action to the script, which I appreciate. Dolph Lundgren, I love his character of Gunnar, which, although not the same spelling, is still the same name that his character had in the Expendables. He is spelled differently, but both characters are named Gunnar. He's a guy trying to get used to civilian life. It's not working out until one day these two guys come up, offer him a deal to go to this island with a team and make the people on the island sign this piece of paper. Because these two guys, they're these bureaucratic, uptight wimps who want the minerals on the island. The two guys are actually Thomas Gibson, who was Grade. He was in the show Dharma and Grade. He played the character Grade. He's been in other stuff too. I think he was in that TV show Criminal Minds. And the other guy is the director himself, Perry Lane. Which I thought Perry Lane did a wonderful job for a guy that I don't think he ever directed again. I could be wrong, but I've never seen another film he's done. He did a wonderful job with this. It's a good-looking film. The budget's on the screen. The action is exciting, solid, practical, well-directed, more than competent, uh, satisfying. You have a great fight scene at the end. You have bazooka fun. He has this big honking rocket launcher. I forget the name. They say the name in it, but it's like Dolph goes, "It's from Sweden, like me," and uses that puppy. blowing up. You have this great moment where he has the rocket launcher and there's a dumbass behind him. So he shoots it, it fires, blows some stuff up, turns around, the loser is a fricassee, part of the fried chicken and the KFC bucket, and Dolph says something like, "Don't sneak up on people." Fucking Dolph rocket launcher bazooka Dolph. That could be the subtitle for this film. Bazooka Dolph. Bazooka Man. I love that. But it's also a good story, a solid cast, very likable characters. The team he gets together. You have this wise guy played by Anthony John Denison. You have this sort of, how I put it, a little bit of the out there. I don't want to say Zen, but he's the type of guy you figure would be the smoke weed, in touch with his spirituality type of guy. It's played by Tim Guinee. I remember him as the priest who's with James Woods and John Carpenter's Vampires. Tom Wright, who I think was one of the guys who helped Steven Seagal's character in March for Death, he's in here. There's some nice moments of his character interacting with the locals, teaching these kids how to play football, and then those kids help him out. Not in a goofy way, but in a satisfying way. Tiny Lister Jr., yes, Debo from Friday. He's in the film as a psycho. On the way, they pick up this lady, played by Catherine Bell. I thought she did a good job. She reminded me a little bit of Jeanette Goldstein's Vasquez in Aliens. Granted, not as good, not as memorable, but still, she did a pretty decent job. Maybe it's because in the third act she has like a red bandana, and that made me think of Vasquez. But I thought she was pretty badass. There's another guy, I forget his name, but we see him doing this like kickboxer fight, and he's letting himself get beat up, so the odds go up. And then when they're high up, he beats the shit out of people, of his opponent. Done way better here than in fucking Expendables 3. That's the thing. I think the people who made the Expendables film should have watched this film. Hell, Shane Black, when he did that shitty Predator film, he should have looked at this film. How you get an ensemble cast with levity and humor, but they're badasses, they're good characters, and they take the situation seriously. Imagine this group going up against the Predator, and that would have been a lot better. And Dolph should have been the lead. I would love that. If you had Dolph and this group and that tone of this movie and that Predator film, would have been amazing. But hey, we can only dream. So he gets his team together. I like the line where Tiny Lister Jr. is in jail talking with Dolph, and his question is, what color are the people I'm going to kill? And Dolph says, lighter than you, darker than me. Along the way, they go to this place called Puna Bay to get some poontang. This fun little bar fight happens, and we get introduced to our villain, Trevor Goddard. And this is another big plus for the film. I love Trevor Goddard in this movie. He's the guy who played Kano in Mortal Kombat. He had a supporting role in Deep Rising. He passed away way too soon, but he was a good character actor. He's a really fun villain. He has a personality. He's entertaining, but you just fucking hate this character too. He was such a slimy bad guy. And he sees Dolph's character, oh, this is good. This is really fun. Very fucking good. I'm going to arrest you for murder. And Dolph's like, we didn't kill anybody. Oh, yeah? I think you did. I think you very well fucking did. And he shoots one of his men. You see that? And that's one of my best men. And Dolph's like, hey, why don't we sell this like men? Okay. But this ain't going to be one of those I hit you, you hit me, I hit you. No, it's going to be, I hit you, and I fucking hit you. Every time he touches me, kill one of his men. So I like that scene, and Dolph takes the punishment. But, Dolph does get his payback, which is nice. But that's cool. It makes you hate the villain, makes you root for the hero, it makes you want to see the payback is done very satisfying in the end. So that's a good way to do it. It's a good way to do it. They get to the island, they meet the people on the island. BD Wong from Jurassic Park, and he was in the new Jurassic Park films. He does a good job because he's not the typical stereotype. He's a smart character. He knows what these guys are up to. He's a very likable character. He's just out there taking a leak and sees that they're there, and he's like, "So you boys lost or what?" And he taught the village to say, "Hey, G.I. Joe, you got some gum?" Yeah, I taught him that. I told him that's how they say hello in America. And he says stuff like, "Sure thing, boss," because he plays under the radar to gauge how these guys will act and how these guys really are. When later on, he has the team eat this stuff. And Dolph's like, "You eat this stuff with celebrations, or do you eat it all the time?" And BD1 goes, "You kidding? We don't eat that shit." And the whole village laughs. Oh, again, there's some nice levity and fun to it. The middle of the section, yeah, there's not a ton of action, but I thought it worked well in this because you have to show that some of these characters are going to have a change of heart. Unlike, say, fucking Venom, where Venom changes his mind out of the fucking blue, and then people like, "Oh no, he did it." I'm like, no, you're making shit up. It's in your mind. You're assuming and making shit up. None of this you're saying was in the movie. And then you go, what? You want the movie to tell you? Yeah, I like the movie to tell me a little bit if a character's going to go 180. Otherwise, every single character's reactions, I just assume shit on my own. That's what good writing is. I think this is a pretty damn well written. Sorry, I think I cleaned my glasses with. A pretty well written flick. So you buy why Dolph and some of the characters have a change of heart. Like Tim Guinee, he has a little bit of a romance with this Islander. Dolph meets Charlotte Lewis from The Golden Child. Sorry, I'm pointing to my poster, Golden Child, that a very nice person sent me. I love The Golden Child. It's my favorite Eddie Murphy film. It was cool to see her in a movie like this. She did a good job. And her and Dolph fall for each other. And Tom Wright, who he's playing with the kids, teaching them football, and I never didn't find it boring. You had some really beautiful locations of the island. It was well filmed. There was nice cinematography. The music was good by who did the music? Gerald Gouriet. Probably fucked up that last name, but he did a nice job. And once in a while it comes to Trevor Goddard being a fun bad guy. He fucks with the two business guys, saying, "You don't be my new partner. No, I'm going to be your new partner." They're like, no, we can't do it. And he's like, "Oh, really?" And he grabs one, ready to shoot him. Yeah, you don't. How about you make that phone call now? Give him my business card. You see that? That's my phone number, and on the back is my fax machine. Like the way Trevor Goddard did it, much better than I could have. Such a fun bad guy. And again, more story to showcase how these characters change their minds and their hearts. Like BD1 and the village has it where the kids take Dolph and them are holding the guns, they take the end and put it to their own heads. So you have little kids taking the butt of the guns and putting it to their heads, which is kind of a ballsy thing. It's not something I don't think they would do nowadays. Could you imagine a film nowadays having little kids take someone holding a gun and put it to their heads. That wouldn't happen nowadays because we're too PC. We have to be too PC. It's too one PC. You can't do that. It's an action movie. And it also showcases that this village, it doesn't want to be that place we saw earlier, the Poontang place, Poona Bay, the Poontang Haven. It doesn't want to be that type of place. And then Dolph tries to reason with those two business guys, and you find out that the minerals they're looking for is in bird shit. And even Dolph's like, what? Yeah, they have a lot of minerals, and we have a lot of birds are on there, and then there's a bunch of caves with back guano, and they all have minerals. We're a mineral factory, not factory, but we're a mineral business. Which, I mean, they do that. They do look at minerals of that nature. And Dolph even says, you want me to kill people for bird shit? And then the one guy goes, you've done it for less. And then that's when Dolph's had it. It's like, fuck this, and choose a side. Some people leave, some people stay. And then the third act is just pure action, and very well done action. Dolph fucking people up with I forget the name of that shotgun. I forget it. I think Christopher Walken used it in The Dogs of War. I barely remember that film. I remember not being a fan of that film, but I remember the cover with Christopher Walken holding a gun that looks like the one Dolph has. But he's fucking people up with that, kicking ass. Yeah, this nice slow-mo of Dolph slicing necks and kicking people while saving this kid. The Grace character by Catherine Bell, she has a red bandana, so she gave me a Vasquez from Aliens vibe. There's a nice bit where she's sliding down the hill, shooting at bad guys. Dolph, bazooka fun. You want a gunfight? Well, you got one. Fucking huts up and bad guys up with bazookas. Including the idea of frying the one behind them. Don't sneak up on people. My favorite line in the movie. Even BD1, you find out that he cut the heads off those two assholes, uptight, businessmen assholes. And you see him holding the disembodied heads. Just some really good action in this. When characters die, you feel sorry for when some of these characters die. And Kevin Tighe, I should have mentioned this before. Kevin Tighe, he's a guy, he was in Roadhouse. I think he's the guy who hired Patrick Swayze to help be a bouncer at his bar. And Kevin Tighe has been in other stuff too, but I remember him from the most from Roadhouse. And he realizes it's a done situation, so he says, we're done. And Trevor Goddard gets pissed and shoots the guy point blank range with the bazooka. Trevor Goddard's character is a crazy nutso. And then he gets dragged to the underground cave with Dolph, and Dolph's like, welcome to hell. And then they get a good fight back and forth. Nice kicks, punches, good sound effects. It's filmed really competently. There's no quick cuts. There's no shaky cam. It's just one of Dolph's better fights in a movie. I'll say that. It's one of my favorite fight scenes with Dolph. In any of these movies is the fight he has with Trevor Goddard. And there's some fun to it too. Dolph finds an axe, like a hatchet. And he tries to hit Trevor Goddard, and it fucking breaks in a million pieces. And Dolph's like, fuck. And then Trevor Goddard throws him. And then a good gory death where Dolph's getting drowned, and he takes a piece of bone and shoves it right under the chin and out through the mouth. Really good gory effect. And this fucking villain deserves it. And the movie ends, and it's just a well shot, well filmed, beautiful locations. It looked like it definitely had a good budget behind it. This easily could have been in theaters. It's that good of a production. The script is better than people give it credit for. It does a nice job of building it up so that the turn of these characters is believable. The cast do a wonderful job, both fun villain, good hero characters. Dolph's a badass, shotgun fun, bazooka fun. I mean, come on, you got Dolph fucking up the bad guys with a bazooka. You want a gunfight? You got one. Just, I don't really have any problems with the film. This is such a severely underrated film. It is a fucking crime. You know, I will say it is the most underrated Dolph film. Because again, at least I Come in Peace and Yours a Soldier, they do get some notice. For me, there should be more, but they get some. And like all those films I mentioned, you do find a Blu-ray of Red Scorpion. There's a Blu-ray of Shotaro Tokyo in the U.S. There's no Blu-ray of this in the U.S. There may be one overseas, but I mean I don't know. I don't know if there's a good. Even if there is, I don't know if it's a good Blu-ray. I don't know whatever anything about it. But there should be one in the U.S., but there's none. At least like Red Scorpion has features. The Punisher has some features. Could be better though, but it has some. Icon Beast could be more features, but it has some. Same with Universal Soldier. You know, like they have features. Like this movie needs interviews with Dolph, interview with Perry Lane, interview with some of the cast members. You know, pristine HD presentation. You could tell this is a good-looking film. It'd be nice what it looks like in HD. It fucking deserves it, man. Get this on Blu-ray, someone, please. Get some fucking features. But again, no one ever talks about the film, so... I mean, you look on YouTube, how many people have reviewed this film on YouTube? I did, years ago, and that review is still up. So, I'm like one of the only people to review this film. I think my good friend Fabio, the Italian Stallion, he reviewed it too. But not many people review this film. Not many people talk about this Dolph film. It's a great movie. Better than Expendables 2, better than Expendables 3, better than The Predator, or a lot of these fucking new films coming out. If you're a fan of action films and Dolph, this is easily a must-see. Big recommendation. I would say this is definitely one of his best ones. Love this movie. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.